What happened during the pandemic or any difficult time, whether it's that magnitude or something smaller, I always feel like if you can keep moving forward, even if things have stopped, there's an opportunity when it ends to be better positioned. That's clearly what you were able to do. All right, 4 quick final questions as we round the bases. Being a guy that's splitting time, Kansas City, Georgia. Look, if you're not in Kansas City right now, this is coming out in early February. I don't know what's going to happen with the Super Bowl, but your episode will be released before the Super Bowl. Pretty much wherever you go around the country right now, everybody suddenly hates the Chiefs, which means you've really accomplished. If you're at New England Patriot status, you've really accomplished it. People, you should check out some of Roy's Instagram because he's got some of the most catchy Chiefs songs on there. This is not anything new. You've been doing it for a long time. How much fun are you having with your Kansas City Chiefs?
Oh my God! Listen, well, I know you're a sports historian. You know me. I've been following you, and you know, and I respect your opinion because it's unbiased. And I kind of come from that same ilk where I love the Chiefs, I love Kansas City, I love the Royals, but I'm also unbiased. This is the best time to be I mean, I don't think anybody ever could imagine. Like you said, we're in that New England Patriots, Tom Brady like stratosphere. Like nobody ever seen this coming. So I'm just enjoying every moment. I'm super excited. 4 Super Bowl appearances. Like it was 50 years between Super Bowls. So to get 4 in the last 5 years.
Crazy.
It's oh my God. And what Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are doing just everywhere. Anywhere you go, we're recognized because of Patrick. Let me tell you what, Kelsey. I'm not even down for Kelsey is that guy, but I'm telling you, Patrick Mahomes is he's just different, man. I don't think we've ever seen. For me personally, we've never seen somebody that is just this talented and also just that good of a guy, just a good person, but just a competitor. We just enjoy this moment because it's so great. I did a couple of Chiefs video, well, and like you said, I did and to show people because a lot of people on my news stuff, they're like, "Oh, you're this bandwagon." Of course, people on the internet say whatever, but I don't even get into that. But I did the first Chiefs song that I recorded was 2013. Now, that was before Mahomes was around, and then the second Chiefs song I did, if you listen to it at the end, I was hinting towards, hey, let's put Mahomes in. I love Alex Smith. He was probably one of the best QBs we had in a while, I think, since Trent Green. But Alex Smith was just a kind of you think and dunk until Mahomes got behind him. That lit his fire because he was going down the field that season. But I still was like, listen, let's go with Mahomes. But to wrap this up, of course, I thought Mahomes would be a more dynamic, down the field player, but all-time great. I don't think anybody's seen this coming. I think he's had the argument. Once we win 3, I'm predicting that we will win. I think it'll be a tough game, but once we win 3, I think you can officially call Patrick Mahomes the greatest quarterback to ever do it. And that's tough. Tom got 7, but at Tom's peak, he was never as athletic or as creative as you've seen Mahomes. That's why you got to at least get 3. You get 3, you can argue it. So, but Tom's still that guy. Tom is still that guy.
It's so much fun, and I told you before we went on when you crank out those Chiefs songs, chopping it up and everything, it's like it's so catchy. It plays off of the emotions. All right, second question as we round the bases. Speaking of emotions, too, what's the significance of Justice going off to college, Iowa State, with that academic scholarship? I mean, that right there is the cycle being broken, right?
Man, big time. It's like what's crazy. Like I said, one of my Division I offers was in Iowa. And then after I even squandered it all, I had an OAAU coach who was at a school, I forget the name of it, but it was in Sioux City. And they even brought me back out, and it was a D2 school.
Morningside College.
There you go.
I only know that because one of my original broadcast partners here, the legendary Paul Splittorff, the late Paul Splittorff, rest in peace, played. He was a 2-sport athlete there. He pitched. He was a college pitcher and a basketball player at Morningside.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So my Ryan Fugger was his name. This is way back in the day. This is like 99, 2000. He was a coach there, and he was like, man, listen, just come out here. So I went out there, balled out. They were like, listen, just show up. And they were a feeder school into Iowa State. It was like, you just come here, you show up, and you do what you do, we'll get you there. And I squandered all that to be on 54th and Garfield in the middle of the hood of Kansas City to rap. But saying that to say it's definitely a full circle moment, because now guess what? I was dedicated to make sure my son understood the importance of education, and he stayed on track. And now, where is he? He's at Iowa State on a full ride academic scholarship. And so, yes, it's definitely a full circle, incredible this moment. And I'm enjoying it.
All right, third question as we round the bases. You mentioned something to me before we were coming on about, paying attention to my mental health. This is I just bring it up because I think we could talk about mental health on every episode of this podcast or any podcast, and I often do, maybe even not enough though. And I'm curious your perspective on this, because everything you're doing is geared towards kids. Mental health obviously affects us all, but these kids, as you know, and as a parent of 3 and 2 that are still, in the house, that it's harder than ever before. And I'm just curious sort of your take on it as someone that is putting out things that can help them with their mental health.
Right. I mean, especially now with, this, like you said, we're in the digital era. We're in the, I feel like the old man now today, because these screens and this social media. I know as an adult, social media, I have to, limit it because it impacts my, mental health. And so I'm just trying to place myself in my kids' shoes who are on screens all day, who are on, I try to keep them, they're in high school now, but they're on TikTok, whatever. Like, it's so much moving. So I just try to be intentional about taking breaks from it. I do stuff like, hey, listen, when it's time to go to bed, hey, hand me the devices. I'm gonna plug them in downstairs. You know what I mean? It would take some time away to just, if we play basketball, because basketball is my love. My daughter's actually playing right now. My youngest son, he's not much of a hooper, but that's what I love to do, to kind of connect with them. But I make sure I'm intentional about kind of spending time with them away from that, and also helping them to find their identity outside of that, because so much of that is shaping our youth's identity. Like kind of how I mentioned with hip hop and music, which is still a big influence, was shaping me. That's how like social media and everything is kind of, and the internet and all this stuff and the devices are shaping the kids. So I'm just intentional about spending time with them, reinforcing with them their love, their great, and trying to, again, speak those affirmations we talked about, and just be as present as possible with them to build them that solid foundation.
All right, here's my walk-off. We talk about you breaking the cycle for your kids. By the way, the parenting thing never ends. You know that, even if they're out of the house. But you look at the community you grew up in. You look at some of the people that you met when you were growing up. You look at the path you were going on, and you might have ended up, being the biggest rap star in the world, or who knows where. It could have gone good. It could have gone bad. But I mean, I think about this here in Black History Month, and look, what you're doing can help any kid, no matter what their race, no matter what their demographic, no matter what their background is. A kid with a lot of money could go down a bad path. Something like this could help them. But it has always been the case that certain communities, certainly a lot of Black communities in the city, don't have or not given the same resources, whether that be to help with your mental health, whether that be to have healthy food, whether that be proper education, whether that be support for moms or dads in terms of childcare. That the odds are stacked against certain people in certain communities. And I'm curious what you think here about your ability to help with that.
Yeah, big time. And I think clearly, with what we're doing, we know hip hop is the voice of our youth. And like you mentioned, this is really for all backgrounds. And we know hip hop influences, I mean, again, every demographic, but we know specifically when you're talking about like Black and brown communities, especially like in areas of poverty, hip hop is such, and just music overall, but hip hop is such a big influence. So it starts with that, like, how are we tapping into this culture to show them, hey, look, a lot of the time when you in these communities, they think there's 2 ways out of there. It's either I'm gonna play sports or I'm gonna rap, or, I mean, that's kind of just the mindset that's kind of been imposed upon a lot of us. And so I think using hip hop as the vehicle to show them, no, listen, there's much more for you. And showing them that education is important through hip hop, through rap. We're teaching kids about literacy through rap. They're struggling to read on grade level, but you put on your favorite rap artist, they go word for word with that. So just tapping into the culture to show them the proper representation, and the exposure to everything that exists. Because what happens in KC is a lot of the times, even though we're becoming a bigger city, like it's one of the cities where, like, for children in those different, communities, as far as like in poverty communities, or as far as like, in those type of circumstances, it's hard to see past the block. So that's crazy you said that in the intro. Ashley, she's cold because she actually pulled one of them bars in the intro, like from one of a song I did. Like the intro was pretty impressive. The block to the boardroom. But saying that to say, it's hard to see past the block. So a lot of the times when you're in the city, like you don't know what you can't be what you can't see, right? So we're not seeing that. And so to land this plane, that's what Healthy Hip Hop is about. It's about showing them, hey, listen, proper representation, education, exposure to show you, hey, look, you can be just like us, kids that came out of the streets of Kansas City, but you can do so much more. And there's so many examples of that, of other, Black men and women in Kansas City, from, Ruby Jeans, Chris Good. I mean, you can go on down the line of like people, Black men and women doing incredible things, for the culture and for the city.
It's so powerful, and I'm so excited for everything you've done and everything that you're still doing. Have fun in New York, rubbing elbows with all the famous people. The website, healthy.hiphop. You can get the app, no matter who you are. This is something, if you got kids, grandkids, friends with kids, nieces, nephews, whatever it is, no matter what your background, this can help. Roy, congratulations. It's so good to catch up with you. And I don't know, for anybody listening after the Super Bowl, you'll know if it went well or not, but what we'll be rooting for. Thank you, my friend.
I appreciate you. Thanks for having me.